Friends of Islam, this time the Islamic faith is back before you to share Islamic information. I hope it inspires your activities today, and don't forget to click the subscribe button and activate the bell button notifications so you don't miss the latest news from the Islamic Faith channel. Israel's war, which destroyed the Gaza Strip, has attracted a lot of world attention, one of which is Australia. Due to their sense of humanity towards the people of Gaza, quite a few people who have empathy have helped through donations for Palestine. In fact, quite a few people are also inspired by Gaza and finally decide to convert to Islam, like in Australia. Australia has a majority non-Muslim population. Many of its citizens, especially women, have converted to Islam. Women in Australia received Islamic guidance through the war in Gaza. Seeing the determination of the people of Gaza can touch the hearts of Australian women to embrace Islam. Reporting from Yeni Safak English, as many as 30 women in Melbourne, Australia converted to Islam. The resistance in Gaza inspired Australian women to convert to Islam. In the last month, as many as 30 Australian women converted to Islam. The far-reaching impact of global political and social issues on individual beliefs. They said the Shahada at the Meadow Heights Mosque in Melbourne, Australia. They expressed their astonishment and the steadfastness and faith of the Palestinian people in Gaza, then touched their hearts. I feel happy. There has been a lot of peace since 2 weeks ago. I converted to Islam because of what is happening in Gaza, and I want to be closer to Islam and Allah, said Jacqueline Retzak. Because of the sad events in Palestine, Gaza, one of the Australian women converted to Islam. Not knowing which one and the idea of Islam also having only one God. I think it makes sense. It touches my heart, and the Palestinian issue makes me cry every day. I can't say anything, said Christine Kernagorak. Palestinian issues and feelings of humanity can provide guidance for women in Australia so that they are determined to change their faith. The results of the struggle of Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine opened the eyes and hearts of the world to understand the Islamic religion and created an extraordinary momentum for conversion among Australian women living in Melbourne. Netizens who saw the upload also posted various comments. The majority of them expressed their gratitude for the decision of the 30 Australian women to convert to Islam. Welcome, Sister Dadeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and protect you from the evil eye and remain steadfast. Give barakat, ameen summa ameen ya rabbul alameen, wrote the netizen. Allahu Akbar. Hamas is truly making changes to the Ummah globally with Allah's permission. This opens the eyes of people all over the world to see the truth, said another. In fact, Islam started with something strange and will return to being as strange as it was at the beginning. So the good news is heaven for foreigners, added the netizen. The oldest mosque in Shepparton, in the state of Victoria, Australia has opened its doors wide to the entire community, including non-Muslims who wish to visit. The Muslim mosque, also known as the Albanian Mosque, was founded by the Albanian Muslim community in Victoria, Australia. The Albanian Mosque is believed to be the first mosque built in Shepparton by Albanian migrants in the 1950s. Visitors who visit the mosque have the opportunity to tour the mosque and get an explanation of its history and role for Muslims. We are proud of our culture. We know who we are. We're Australian, but we know our heritage and we know our culture, and that's something to be proud of, he added. Australia has no official national religion, and people are free to follow any religion they choose, as long as they obey the law. Australians are also free to practice no religion. Muslims in Australia have a long and rich history that is thought to predate European settlement. The first Australian mosque was built at Maree in South Australia in 1861, following the arrival of camel riders from Afghanistan in the 1800s. See Muslim in Australia fact sheet. Since World War II, increasing numbers of Muslims have settled in Australia from the Middle East, Europe, and Asia, including many who came under Australia's refugee and humanitarian programs. Today, more than 360,000 people in Australia identify as Muslims. Their diverse society is mainly centered in Sydney and Melbourne. Since the 1970s, Australian Muslims have established Islamic schools and more than 100 mosques and prayer rooms. Muslims play an important role in Australia's economic and social life. Until now, Islam is a religion that is developing quite rapidly in Australia. The number of followers of Islam continues to increase, and the number of mosques and Islamic schools continues to increase. Australia is indeed a country with a high level of diversity, including in terms of religion. The development of religion in the land of kangaroos was influenced by waves of migration, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Australia has a thriving Islamic community, consisting of people from all corners of the world. Many Australian customs and attitudes may seem strange to you at first. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you are unsure about something. Australia has a mixed relationship with Islam. Although Islam was never accepted as an Australian religion in the 20th century, it was not subject to paranoia. This makes Australian Muslims feel like outsiders and vulnerable to slander and physical attacks. Guilt by association has harmed Australian Muslims and particularly harmed young Muslims. The debate on the place of Islam in Australia has evolved significantly in the 21st century. While the new century has been marked by hypersensitivity, mutual mistrust between the government and Muslim communities, as well as Islamophobia, a discernible countertrend is gaining momentum. Australia is valued by its Muslim population for the freedom it offers and protection of their faith, which is often absent in many Muslim countries. The presence of Islam in Australia actually predates European settlement. Indonesians were the first to introduce Islam to Australia in the 16th century. He comes from Makassar, South Sulawesi, and is a Muslim fisherman. By promoting and maintaining multiculturalism in Australia, a more dynamic and more inclusive society will be built. Apart from that, it can also foster health and prosperity for all Australians. Australia's Muslim community has traditional sectarian divisions and is also very diverse racially, ethnically, culturally, and linguistically. Various Muslim groups within the Australian Muslim community also adhere to non-religious ethnic identities that parallel those of their associated non-Muslim counterparts, both in Australia and overseas.